This is the shape of the number that's going to be on our website next to our knives of how much tariff affects the prices of our knives.
As our economy lurches, maybe drifts toward chaos based on Donald Trump's tariffs, there's still a segment of the population out there, business owner and otherwise, who are supporting Donald Trump's tariffs. I found this post from Derek Guy, the menswear guy over on Twitter. He's kind of made his name for poking fun and highlighting the lack of fashion sense or whatever of conservatives and others on Twitter. And he pointed out this guy named Josh Smith, who runs the Montana Knife Company, who posted the other day, a video of himself holding up an A. I'll show you the video, but what he's doing is kind of mocking people who don't make their products in the United States, or at least highlighting that his company isn't impacted by tariffs and his prices of his products won't be rising because I make all my stuff in America, y'all. Kind of the theme here, I guess. This is another one of those, you fuck around and then you find out kind of a deals. And he's in the finding out phase right now, even though just back on, what's the date here? July 25th, just 8 or 9 days ago, he was on a podcast saying that I was with Donald Trump and am with Donald Trump and his tariff policies. Which really is the overarching question that I want to ask is, what amount of pain, what amount of impact on their livelihoods is going to make these people wake up to the fact that Donald Trump's policies are deleterious? They are causing great harm. They are damaging. They are not meant to benefit the economy of the United States. They're not meant to bring back manufacturing to the United States, because if they were, they would be surgical in nature. They would be strategic in nature. It wouldn't be just blunt force trauma to the economy of the United States and business owners like Josh Smith. This was the tweet from the menswear guy. On April 30th, Josh Smith of Montana Knife Company said, "You won't have to worry about tariffs if you buy American." Last week, he realized his costs are going up because he imports equipment and steel, and so does his suppliers, and so do his suppliers. In my opinion, many people aren't aware of how much they import. Here's the video that was included in this tweet of the fucking around phase of Josh Smith, and then we'll show you the finding out phase.
All right, so I hear that Amazon is going to put a number next to the price of a product on their website to designate how much the tariff is of whatever you're buying on their website. At Montana Knife Company, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put a number next to the price as well. And that number is going to look a lot like the shape of this goose egg. Well, it's a chicken egg because I didn't have a goose. But anyway, this is the shape of the number that's going to be on our website next to our knives of how much tariff affects the prices of our knives, because we've been preaching this all along. We're American made, buy American. You don't have to worry about this shit. Also, that is actually chicken shit on this egg, because we also raise our own chickens. But anyway, I digress. Buy American, make American made, and you don't have to worry about this shit, except for the chicken shit.
Goose egg, huh, Josh? It is amazing to me the lack of understanding, the economic ignorance that's on display of these people. And look, I'm not an economist. It's not like I know a bunch more than even him. It's just, I don't take at face value the things that Donald Trump says. I don't give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. And it seems Josh does. Last week, that was on April 30th. Last week, same guy, Josh Smith, Montana Knife Company, a little plug for your business, Josh. He posted this, whining about the increases of prices of things that he's buying that are going to make his job doable, to make him be able to make the money, to be able to make the knives that he makes. And even though he's making his product in the United States, when the components that are necessary for building your product, making your product, the craftsmanship that you put forth in your made in America product, they are on the rise, which is invariably going to cause you to have to raise your prices, because making your product in the United States is now more expensive than it was before Donald Trump's tariffs. Watch this.
All right, for those of you that say buy American-made equipment, the tariffs won't affect you. This is American-made heat treating furnaces. July 17th, 2024, base price $519. July 23rd, 2025, base price $612. The thermocouple interface upgrade, $14,900, $16,700. The loader, $10,200. The loader, $11,400. Two 1,000 gallon tanks, gas backup reservoirs, $39,400, $44,300. Spare parts kit, same stuff, $18,100, $20,400. So this is my point, and this is what I'm getting at. We're trying to build American manufacturing. This is American-made equipment, 100% made in America. This stuff has an effect. Again, I'm questioning, why is the cost of equipment to manufacture in America going up that drastically in 1 year? I'm not hating on the Trump administration. Again, I'm trying to point out that their policies need some adjustments. We should be focusing on finished goods coming in from overseas. We shouldn't be making the cost to buy equipment made in America for American manufacturers go up by this amount of money. $100,000 on the base price in 1 year.
And again, look, a lot of people are like, well, we shouldn't shame these people. We should welcome them into the tent. We should celebrate that they're now starting to figure it out. The problem is, so many of these people are not figuring it out. They're taking their lumps, their unnecessary lumps from Donald Trump, and still worshiping at his feet. Here he is on a podcast, July 25th, the Cleared Hot podcast. It's like a dime store Joe Rogan, where the host is like trying to be funny and shit. It was tough wading through this to get this particular clip from Josh Smith. And you can skip ahead. This is about 2 minutes or so long. You can skip ahead to about the last minute is where the thing that I want you to hear is, but I wanted to give you the full context because that's what I do. He's explaining about buying a machine that will help him make his knives, but the machine is only made in Germany. It's only made there, and the $500,000, the $500,000 machine he's purchasing, and he's explaining the impacts. But it's the last statement, the last sentence that I want you to hear.
So here we are. We're getting ready to order this equipment. We're having all these conversations. We start discussing price and find out this blade grinding machine, for example, is basically $500,000. It'll be right at $500,000, probably a little more once it's installed. So $500,000. Oh, there's a 37% tariff on it right now, but depending on what happens with some of these things going on with the EU and what Trump's saying, it could be a 50% tariff August 1st in 12 days.
That's a big hike.
On a $500,000 grinder. Now, people's instant reaction on my Instagram post is, well, just buy it in America, dude. Like, you're bitching about buying things overseas. These machines, there's about 12 per year built and sent to America and bought in America. They're highly specialized. They're massive machines. There is not like an industry, quote unquote.
Yeah, there's no Napa Auto Parts for what you're doing.
No, and there's not even the demand for it, because the only people who are installing these machines are major manufacturers of maybe scissors, blades that might go like lawnmower blades, stuff for farm implements, knives.
When are you guys going to make scissors? Now I'm interested.
I'm very interested in that. But
kitchen shears, perhaps?
Yeah, no, it's all possible with this machine. the point is, how often do you hear of scissor manufacturers being built in America right now, or farm implement manufacturers or whatever? It's real small. So like I say, about 12 machines a year are shipped to America. There's 2 companies that build these machines, and they're both in Germany. They invented this machine process, and they supply essentially the world these bevel grinding machines, and they only make a few dozen a year for the world. So it's a very specialized industry machine. My point is, and my frustration with Trump's policies, well, let's talk about tariffs for a second here. I'm actually, well, I'm going to preface this all by saying I'm not an economist. I can't argue if tariffs are a good thing or a bad thing, right? Some people are going to say it's a form of tax. It's a terrible idea. Government, we need less tax, whatever. You should have free trade or whatever you want to say. Other people like Trump are going to say, hey, it makes us more competitive with the cheap labor overseas and all that. And I tend to, during the election and even today, fall on that side with Trump.
And I tended to, during the election and even today, side with Trump on tariffs. Even today, while his business is being harmed, he's siding with the dear leader, putting Donald Trump's vision for America ahead of his own reality, of providing for his family, of building something that maybe, I don't know his situation, kids or whatever, but pass along to a future generation. Donald Trump is destroying, at the very least, hurting, harming him and his interests. And he's still, and I'm with Trump on this. Why don't you talk to an economist, not a dipshit podcaster, not a moron on YouTube. Talk to someone who's an expert in this. Donald Trump is not that. And all of this bluster about made in America, we don't live in an agrarian 18th century economy anymore, Josh, Donald Trump. We live in a global economy, in a technological world where communication doesn't take months between continents. It is instantaneous. We live in modernity, brother. And Donald Trump's antiquated ideas about the economy that are forged in his lack of education and understanding of basic mathematics, they're not good for you. They're not good for me. They're not good for us. They're not good for we the people. When are they going to figure it out? I guess that's the question. You can comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Josh, if you're listening, I'd love to hear from you, brother.
Does the administration have any evidence that it was rigged, as the president said? And will you be presenting that to the American public?
Well, the evidence is that there have been a bunch of revisions.
It is amazing to me witnessing in real time Donald Trump's decisions, his insanity, his absolute detachment from reality, and his expecting us, the expectation of the rest of us also living in that space. He wants you to believe that him firing the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics was because she got something wrong. Yet, Tulsi Gabbard, who got something much bigger wrong, who actually got it wrong if you listen to Donald Trump, because the person who's in charge of the Bureau of Labor Statistics didn't get anything wrong, just did her job, but it didn't square well with what Donald Trump's propaganda was, so she has to go. And Tulsi Gabbard, who he says got something wrong, so important, so critical to the national security apparatus of our country that she should be gone, whether or not Iran had a nuclear program and was actively seeking to advance their position security-wise in the world with nuclear weapons. That seems like a fireable offense, right? Something so serious that you could get wrong. Let's do this. Let's juxtapose these two statements. Here is what Donald Trump said on Friday, very brief clip, 5, 6, 7 seconds, of why he fired the commissioner for the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Why did you fire the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics?
Because I think her numbers were wrong, just like I thought her numbers were wrong before the election.
She was wrong. That's why he fired her. And here he was just a couple of months ago talking about Tulsi Gabbard related to her being right or wrong when she disagreed or when he disagreed with her take, and the overarching consensus of our national intelligence gatherers and security specialists, he disagrees with them as well. But she still has her job. Remember this.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
Right. One is there to support his propaganda. The other, I guess, Democrat appointed by Biden, so she's got to go. This is not about who's wrong or right or who agrees with Donald Trump or who doesn't. It's who's going to be there to be a sycophant, who's going to be there to I'm really trying to keep it PG and professional here. Who's going to be there to be the lapdog? Who's going to be there to unquestioningly advance the propaganda and lies of the dear leader, Donald Trump? Obviously, that's Tulsi Gabbard. That's not the commissioner, the former commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Donald Trump, yesterday at 4:16 p.m. Eastern time, got on Truth Social and again is some kind of a, they do this on a Friday, so hopefully the news will go away. But Donald Trump is still trying to keep this going because there's so little that's able to distract from the fact that he was best friends with a child trafficking, child abusing, child raping monster for nearly 2 decades that he's still trying to distract from that. But he posted this on Truth Social. Head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics did the same thing just before the presidential election when she lifted the numbers for jobs to an all-time high. I then won the election anyway, and she readjusted the numbers downward, calling it a mistake of almost 1 million jobs. A scam, says the old man. She did it again with another massive correction and got fired. She had the biggest miscalculations in over 50 years. Now, we're going to get to this of exactly why everything he said there was wrong. The context, the details, everything. It's not he's generally right, but some of the details are a little off. None of it. It's all just wrong. It's a lie. Either he's so addled and demented that he can't tell the truth from reality, or he's a liar. Either one seems to be a disqualifier to be president of the United States. He sent his chief economics advisor, Kevin Hassett, out to the Sunday shows, and he was on with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press, and they had this exchange about her firing. And even this guy, who's absolutely just humiliating himself on a daily basis, claiming that the hard evidence for her firing was her adjusting the numbers, which is something always that happens. When they get new information, when they get new statistics, when they get new data, they revise their earlier findings. They do so we have accurate numbers to go on. Here's Kevin Hassett absolutely prostrating himself before the dear leader.
Just to be very clear, does the administration have any evidence that it was rigged, as the president said? And will you be presenting that to the American public?
Well, the evidence is that there have been a bunch of revisions that could appear to partisans. Oh, I mean, the revisions are hard evidence. There, for example, there was a 818,000 revision making the Joe Biden job record a lot worse that came out after he withdrew from the presidential campaign. There have been a bunch of patterns that could make people wonder. And I think the most important thing for people to know is that it's the president's highest priority that the data be trusted and that people get to the bottom of why these revisions are so unreliable.
Well, let me ask you about what will...
The revisions are not hard evidence. Full stop. And the thing Donald Trump is claiming, as I said, isn't true. Not in spirit, not in letter, none of it. It's just a lie. Or, like I said, he's so demented he doesn't know the truth from reality. Or he's so stupid that basic things Maybe it's a combination of all three. I don't know. But this is from The Guardian. Here's the headline. Trump defends firing labor statistics chief by lying about her role in the 2024 campaign as it happened. Days before the election, she came out with those beautiful numbers. This is a quote from Donald Trump. We could skip that. So anyway, they're addressing this entire narrative, right? At the time, the Trump campaign called the jobs report a catastrophe that definitively reveals how badly Kamala Harris broke our economy. Remember, Kamala Harris, the vice president of the United States, who apparently was the president, right? I mean, if we were to blame J.D. Vance for destroying the economy, what would MAGA be saying right now? Well, J.D. Vance has nothing to do with anything. Right. But only Kamala Harris apparently had outsized power within the previous administration that this vice president doesn't have. Makes a lot of sense. On Friday, however, the president offered a very different account of that report released just 9 months ago. Quote, blah, blah, blah. This is what he said. We've also read the tweets or his posts. What Trump was misremembering is a Bureau of Labor Statistics announcement on 21 August 2024 that updated data showed that there had been 818,000 fewer jobs added to the U.S. in the previous year than it had initially estimated. That downward revision was large, but part of an annual process in which the Bureau updates its initial estimates when it gets better data. Just what I just said. The same day that revision was announced in 2024, Trump, who was then recalibrating his campaign to focus on Kamala Harris, posted on Truth Social that the Biden-Harris administration had been, quote, caught fraudulently manipulating job statistics, and the, quote, new data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that the administration padded the numbers with an extra 818,000 jobs that do not exist and never did. On Friday, however, Trump repeatedly insisted that the August revision had not come until after the November election. Before leaving for another long weekend of golf, Trump repeated his false claim about the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. He had just fired to another reporter. And then again, he said before the election, Trump recalled wrongly. She gave out the numbers that were so good for the Democrats. It was like, oh, unbelievable. So look, Donald Trump's wrong about this. He's lying about this. Even if it is that he's just confused and doesn't understand it, it's disqualifying to be president. It's disqualifying to be someone who is so intimately controlling of our economy, usurping power from the Congress, who has the power under the Constitution to negotiate trade relations and treaties. But the Republican Party, they want to cede power to him. I don't know if it's an effort, one, just to be sycophantic cult members, or that when things go south, they can cut bait with him eventually, we hope, and then blame him for the damage, even though they've all signed on to this time and time and time and time and day after day after day after day. I don't know. But what I do know is Donald Trump is not a reality-based individual. Donald Trump is blaming his firing because she told the truth and gave numbers that he didn't like, that show the damage being done by his trade policies. That our economy is softening, it is weakening, it is worsening, directly related to what Donald Trump is doing. It's a tax increase on the rest of us. And now they're trying to float rebate checks to the American people, or at least the non-Biden voters, if you listen to Josh Hawley, because of the tax. That's not a tax, but what do they need a rebate from if it's not a... Yeah, make it make sense.
She's a registered Republican? Oh, now I love her ad. Is that right? Is Sydney Sweeney...
I briefly talked about this over the weekend, but I want to take another crack at it because Donald Trump is now not shutting up about it in an effort to try to distract from the fact that he is still in so much hot water about his almost 2 decades long best friendship with a notorious and hideous rapist of children, Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know how many friends you have, that are committing crimes against children on a regular basis, that are stealing employees from businesses so they can abuse them. This is the situation Donald Trump finds himself in. Apparently, he loves cavorting with the worst of the worst of the worst, the most sinister and evil characters who commit the worst crimes against the most innocent. That's the president we have. That's Donald Trump, who he himself is now being credibly accused, credible accusations that he also took part in raping children. So the distraction is this. Sydney Sweeney just put out an ad for American Eagle that treads into eugenics territory, talking about her genes when she's talking about her blue genes, but it's also genes being passed down, and my genes are blue. And obviously this is, look, in this day and age, I said this over the weekend, but if this ad had come out 20 years ago, probably not a lot would have been said. But we live in an age when Stephen Miller is trying to fashion a white ethno-state in the United States. They are arresting citizens who are brown and putting them in ICE custody. People are dying in ICE custody. People are being sent to prisons without due process for writing opinion articles that Donald Trump doesn't like. They just so happen to be brown. They just so happen to be of a different religion than Christianity. But we should look the other way about that. Project 2025 is replete with these eugenicist, Nazi-like ideas. So in this day and age, this ad doesn't hit the same. I'm in my mind debating whether I should just play it now or play it a little later. It's very short. It's fashioned for social media, so it's brief. But on Friday, a reporter asked, because she was just found out to be a Republican, like legit. She registered as a Republican in like April of 2024, before the 2024 election in Florida. She registered as she's from Spokane, Washington, which is home base, near home base of the Redoubt and all of these white Christian nationalists. She grew up a stone's throw from Hayden Lake, where Aryan Nations was headquartered. I'm from this area. My best friend lives in a suburb of Spokane. It's small enough, it doesn't really have suburbs, but in an outlying community. I'm from this area. I know these people. These are my people. They are radical, right-wing, militia curious, militia apologists. And her family is in there with them. This is it. This is who she is, right? Whatever. She doesn't have any power. She's an actress. And Donald Trump was asked about this ad and about her being a Republican. And he got giddy. He got excited. So excited. And the excitement didn't diminish over the weekend that yesterday, this morning at 10:25 a.m. Eastern time, he took to Truth Social to really gush about the hot ad. Oh, it's so hot, he puts in quotes. The 80-year-old man is just lusting after the fake blonde, blue-eyed, big-titted, conservative actress who's doing the ads about eugenics. Shocker, color me surprised, right? So this is him on the tarmac, getting ready to fly to his golf or whatever, being asked about Sydney Sweeney, and this is what he had to say.
Actress Sydney Sweeney came out this weekend that she was a registered Republican. Any thoughts on that?
That who was?
Sydney Sweeney. She's like a very hot actress right now.
She's a registered Republican?
Yes.
Oh, now I love her ad. Is that right? Is Sydney Sweeney? You'd be surprised at how many people are Republicans. That's what I wouldn't have known, but I'm glad you told me that. If Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, I think her ad is fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, we've been listening.
If she's a Republican, I think her ad is fantastic. Well, of course she's a Republican. Who else is going to do this eugenics Nazi bullshit other than a Republican? And then he posted this on Truth Social. Sydney Sweeney, a registered Republican, has the hottest ad out there. It's for American Eagle, and the jeans are flying off the shelves. Go get 'em, Sydney. On the other side of the ledger, Jaguar did a stupid and seriously woke advertisement that is a total disaster. I'm going to stop there. The ad that he's talking about with Jaguar, or Jaguar, if you're from the UK, was 8 months ago. And excuse me. And the CEO just stepped down just recently. And it's because of the reimagining, the rebranding that they're trying to do. Jaguar is a company that has faced all kinds of problems, from quality issues to manufacturing issues to image issues to branding issues. This isn't because of woke. These people are continually just banging on about woke, and it's, oh, you're surefire. When you go woke, you go broke. In America, how does he have any sales data whatsoever to make the claim that the American Eagle jeans are just flying off the shelves? So stupid. That's a total. The CEO just resigned in disgrace, and the company is in absolute turmoil. Who wants to buy a Jaguar after looking at that disgraceful ad? Let me finish reading this, and then I'll show you the disgraceful ad. It's one of those ads that you're like, what are they selling here? For me, the ad doesn't work, not because it's woke, not because there's black people in it. It's because it doesn't really say anything. It's like at the end of you're halfway through a pharmaceutical ad commercial, and you're like, what? This is a bunch of people at a picnic eating hot dogs. What is this commercial about? And then it's an eczema commercial. It's the same deal with this Jaguar ad, which I'll play in a second. Shouldn't they have learned a lesson from Bud Light, which went woke and essentially destroyed in a short campaign the company? Yeah. Anheuser-Busch is destroyed, Donald Trump. Classic dumb fuck. The market cap destruction has been unprecedented, with billions of dollars so foolishly lost. Or just look at woke singer Taylor Swift. The billionaire Taylor Swift apparently is also an abject failure in the eyes of our dipshit, demented, octogenarian president. Ever since I alerted the world as to what she was by saying on Truth, that I can't stand her hate, he says, parenthetically, she was booed out of the Super Bowl and became no longer hot. The tide has seriously turned. Being woke is for losers. Being Republican is what you want to be. Thank you for your attention to this matter, says Donald Trump. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Being Republicans where it's at, that's the hot thing, says the grody, demented freak. So here's the ad from Jaguar. I vacillate between the two pronunciations. I kind of like Jaguar. I think it's cooler. And here is like 30, 40 seconds of the ad, just to give you a flavor for what Donald Trump is claiming victory about.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very keens.
Hi, I'm Sydney Sweeney, and I'm from Spokane, Washington. I can work as a local hire as well, though, and I'm available for the American Eagle Jeans campaign shoot.
Sydney Sweeney has very keens.
Next. So please, and also, she is a Republican. The Guardian did reporting. They pulled her voter records, and that on 14th of June this last year is actually when she became or registered officially as a Republican in Florida. And nobody should be surprised by that. Why would you be? Not everybody in Hollywood. Look, you got Jon Voight and James Woods and Dean Cain and the Hercules dipshit. There's all kinds of Republicans who I guess are they're actors. Usually they move out because they can't find any more work because, Hollywood largely doesn't want to deal with Nazis. I guess unless you're Mel Gibson. Apparently there's a statute of limitations on anti-Semitic hate speech. for Mel Gibson. Anyway, what do you think? I would appreciate your conversation about this. We can talk about it in the comments. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com.
We need to kill them. We need to kill them.
Donald Trump's nominees for positions that are important have been more nightmarish than I think any of us expected that they would be. Or maybe I'm just trying to cover for myself and not having predicted it. It was very clear to me that this was going to be a different administration when Donald Trump named Matt Gaetz to be Attorney General. That obviously didn't go anywhere. Pam Bondi we ended up with. But Donald Trump is putting into place in the offices of very, very important, the magnitude of which really can't be overstated. Alina Habba is the U.S. Attorney for New Jersey. And the Senate just confirmed Jeanine Pirro, Fox News host, to be the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, a post that was previously held by the acting Ed Martin, who is just an insurrection apologist. It's the worst of the worst. And they are there because they are dead loyal to the dear leader. Dangerous people. And listen, it's one thing when you're just a set of flapping gums on Fox News, repeating racist tropes and hate against members of Congress who are Muslim, or defending killers like Kyle Rittenhouse, or a host of other just nightmarish things that she has said, allegedly going on during the pandemic, drunk as shit on Fox News to host her little show from her house. I mean, she's a nightmare of a human being, an unkind, indecent human being. And the Republicans saw fit to confirm her, unqualified as anybody's ever been for a position, confirm her for this. But let me read 2 paragraphs from this NPR article. Senate confirms ex-Fox News host Pirro as top federal prosecutor for nation's capital. The Senate has confirmed former Fox News host Jeanine Pirro as the top federal prosecutor for the nation's capital, filling the post after President Donald Trump withdrew his controversial first pick, conservative activist Ed Martin Jr. Pirro, a former county prosecutor and elected judge, was confirmed 50 to 45. Before becoming the acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia in May, she co-hosted the Fox News show The Five on weekday evenings, where she frequently interviewed Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump over the weekend was on the tarmac getting ready to go play golf, or, whatever Donald Trump does on the weekends or during the week even. And he was asked about Jeanine Pirro, and he had something very curious and troubling to say about her qualifications for this very important post. And shocker, it has to do with show business.
I think she's going to be fantastic. Don't forget, Jeanine Pirro was a great judge and a great prosecutor. And because she was so good, I was there. She was an amazing prosecutor and judge. And because she was so good, they drafted her into show business. And she did fantastic. The Five was the #1 show, et cetera, et cetera. Jeanine Pirro was also really good at that. But her real love is exactly what she's doing. And that's what made her such a success in show business. So Jeanine Pirro is going to be amazing. And I'll swear her in as soon as we can swear her in. We need her. She's going to be amazing.
She's an ass-kissing sycophant. That's the reason. She will not be amazing unless the measure that we're trying to impart here is that she will be amazing at kissing Donald Trump's ass and doing anything he wants. That's the metric here. Drafted into show business. I love these people who continue to use military-type language about shit that is absolutely unimportant. She was so good as a prosecutor that Hollywood just came a knocking. She got drafted. Says the draft dodger. That's his understanding of what draft is. She was drafted into show business. What show business, you ask? Fox News. I thought Fox was a news channel, not entertainment, not show business. They give up the game when you least expect it. Here are a couple of show business moments from Jeanine Pirro. First, let's start with her rank, disgusting, bigot Islamophobia that starts with Ilhan Omar. And I want you to notice this before I play this clip. Yeah, I got a hat on today. This is why. This is a mashup that was put together by the Washington Post. But in this first clip, she's acting as though Ilhan Omar is a danger based solely on the fact that she practices Islam, that she is a Muslim. And that, is she a terrorist because of her Sharia law? All this just absolute fear-mongering nonsense. And then she goes, and the clip's gonna, it's a different day, but it just lays bare these people and the violence they feel needs to be brought against people of different faiths than their own. They want this to be a Christian nation, and anyone else of any other faith should not play a part, should not have citizenship, and certainly shouldn't be elected to Congress. In fact, she thinks they should be killed. Watch this.
Think about it. Omar wears a hijab, which according to the Quran 33:59 tells women to cover so they won't get molested. Is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetical to the United States Constitution? We need to kill them. We need to kill them. The radical Muslim terrorists hell-bent on killing us. You're in danger. I'm in danger. We're at war, and this is not going to stop. And make no mistake, as sure as I'm talking to you, there will be efforts to limit our First Amendment, our free speech, to comply with Sharia blasphemy laws, which call for death to those who slander the Prophet Muhammad. And when they want to shut us up, they call us Islamophobes. I've told you that you need to be afraid because they are coming for you. The ISIS assault, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria signals the beginning of the reverse crusade. They are coming for us. To them, we are the infidels. My resolution? Airstrikes. Bomb them. Bomb them. Keep bombing them. Bomb them again and again. And I don't care how long it takes. That same FBI interviewed Mateen, the Orlando shooter, 3 times. Mateen told them that his anti-American comments were simply a response to what he perceived as anti-Muslim comments. He was turning the tables on us folks while basically tapping into our politically correct Islamophobic guilt. We can't negotiate with them. We can't trade with them. We can't let them out of Guantanamo. In fact, even Guantanamo is too good for them. Until we get this country back on track with our military superiority, the hallmark of a strong and a free nation, then our enemies will continue to attack us as lone wolves or as legion. It's time for Americans to realize it's us against them. To come together as a nation.
Current, confirmed by the Republicans in the Senate, United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, my current home. That wretched, sickening, fucking bigot holds a Senate-confirmed position now in the Trump DOJ. Gross. Here she is, on with white supremacist Tucker Carlson, talking about the situation that Kyle Rittenhouse found himself in, as though it was foisted upon him and that he didn't travel with a gun that he wasn't legally able to own to go kill people during the uprising after the murder of George Floyd.
This kid who was a fire cadet, a lifeguard, and a police explorer, he was a kid who went there to clean graffiti. They have video of it. He went there to help people. He was a medic. He was CPR trained. And he finds himself in this situation. He's got a gun.
And now she's the confirmed member by the Senate in the DOJ. Here's a couple other items that you might not know about Jeanine Pirro from the same article I read from earlier. NPR, again, Senate confirms ex-Fox News host Pirro as top federal prosecutor for the nation's capital. In 2021, voting technology company Smartmatic USA sued Fox News, Pirro, and others for spreading false claims that the company helped, quote unquote, steal the 2020 presidential election from Trump. The company's libel lawsuit, filed in a New York state court, sought $2.7 billion from the defendants. She is an election truther, a liar, a conspiracy theorist, an anti-democratic ghoul. Here's another one that you might not know that's quite curious. In the final minutes of his first term as president, Trump issued a pardon to Pirro's ex-husband, Albert Pirro, who was convicted in 2000 on conspiracy and tax evasion charges. She owes Donald Trump. She will do anything and everything that he says, and will justify it. And it'll be done under color of law. She will prosecute who he says to prosecute. She will not prosecute who he says not to prosecute. She will not be an independent arbiter of this position, just like Ed Martin was not going to be. She might not go as far as Ed Martin relative to sending letters to Georgetown and to different entities, threatening them with the weight and the power of the prosecutorial arm of her office. Maybe not. We'll have to see. But this is not how it works. It's not how it should work. And the Republicans in the Senate should not be let off the hook for this. We should be remembering in this upcoming midterm, every single person that voted for Jeanine Pirro and other ghouls that Donald Trump puts forward. Any Democrat that votes for these people should be held accountable, should be primaried and voted out of office because they are advancing the agenda of Donald Trump. This is where the rubber hits the road, folks. This is where we need to start holding people accountable. Elected leaders who have very advanced levels of responsibility in their jobs. Go time for us to rise up and let them know how we feel and that we will not let this go forward. Democrat or Republican, especially Republicans, because we need rid of them. But listen, it's time. I didn't do well in school in math at all. But even my dumbass knows that this is just hilariously impossible. But also, sadly, this is the guy who's calling the shots. For years, MAGA has acted like Donald Trump's playing like 400 dimension chess. You're just playing regular 2-dimension chess. Donald Trump's got like the board that's on multiple levels and he's just a genius. He's got it all figured out. Just wait, Daddy Trump, Papa Trump, he knows he will take care of us because they're a cult. And they ignore the fact that he is just an abject dipshit, a dumb guy. Just a wildly ignorant. He's an ignorant ignoramus. And his understanding of basic arithmetic really does just lay it all bare. That this guy who doesn't understand basic percentages, basic stuff, there's no way he understands economic policy to the degree, at a granular level, like MAGA thinks he does. When he says, tariffs will make us rich, not understanding that it's a tax on the American consumer, that American businesses pay those tariffs to the United States government and then pass along that extra charge to the taxpayer, to the consumer as a tax. And again, if it wasn't a tax, why would they need to float the idea of a rebate payment to taxpayers if there's nothing to be rebated because it's not a tax, right? Doesn't make any sense. But Donald Trump, again, is out there just showing how just fucking stupid he is on a daily basis. And he does so with such confidence that MAGA world gets bamboozled by it. They're like, oh, well, he says it with such gusto. It must be true. It must be true that he's lowering drug prices 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 1,500%, he says. And he even does, I'm going to play this. It is just chef's kiss of moronicness. He not only does he pauses, he states it, and he goes, look, I'm not talking about 50%. I'm talking about 1,500%. It's just, look, I didn't do well in school in math at all. But even my dumbass knows that this is just hilariously impossible, but also sadly, this is the guy who's calling the shots. Wake up, MAGA world, wake up.
Hill, heading into midterms, what do they need to do? What can they do to, hold?
Well, one of the things they're going to be talking about pretty soon are the tremendous drop in drug prices. We've cut drug prices by 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 1,500%. I don't mean 50%. I mean 1,400, 1,500%, because we're going.
I love the clarification. For me, it's the best. It's the best part. Absolutely the best part. I'm not talking about 50%. I'm talking 1,500%. So what he's saying is if you have a drug, if you have a prescription every month that you have to take that cost $100 last month, or whenever before the $1,500 price decrease happened, that if that's $100 drug and there's a $1,500 price reduction, they've lowered the price, that means that you get paid $1,400 when you go to the pharmacy. That's what it means. There's no way around that. Donald Trump is being covered for by United States senators, by members of Congress, by MAGA world in general, as though he's some kind of a next level thought leader, a genius. When they write children's books about the emperor's new clothes, and it's always like so fanciful that this king would surround himself with such yes men, with such idiots, with such sycophants, with such bootlicking lapdogs, that he could put on no clothes and everyone would have to tell him, oh, what beautiful garments you have, dear leader. Yeah, it's so fantastical that it's a children's story, but this is what we got. This is who we collectively chose to be president of the United States. A man who has no restriction to view the world with a reality lens, who can't even recite, listen, there's no policy that is lowering drug prices. How would Donald Trump lower drug prices even 80%? How would he do it? Through flashing his fake teeth? Through running his fingers through his deliciously piss-flavored wet dog hair, cotton candy hair? How through magic, through osmosis? How is he doing it? There's no legislation. There's no executive order. There's no cajoling. It's just saying words. And MAGA world, it's either so just entrenched in the cult mentality that they just believe it, or it's like motivated reasoning, that they want things to be better for themselves. They want their economic outlook to be so much better than it actually is, that they're going to believe Donald Trump. Even though we just had a president that governed as the most progressive administration since FDR, actually making roads to make things better for Americans economically through our infrastructure, through the Inflation Reduction Act, trying to get student loans forgiven. And all that's gone now. Oh, I guess unless you're going to be a new ICE recruit, they're going to forgive your loans. Remember all those people who are like, hey, you borrow money, you got to pay it back. It's American way. Remember all those people? Where are they? It's crickets. It's fucking crickets from them now when the secret police, the masked secret police that are detaining American citizens even, the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement secret police force, they're going to have their student loans forgiven. What happened to all that pay out back the loans if you borrow the money and the government shouldn't be giving loans, right? It's hypocrisy. It's ignorance. It's the least among us, both character-wise and intelligence-wise, leading us. Donald Trump is single-handedly the most ignorant motherfucker who's ever been president of the United States. And that's saying something because we had George W. Bush for 8 years. A non-smart guy. Anyway, too much. I need to, next time, just comb my hair and quit being lazy, right? This is too much.
The president has seen in Brazil, like he's seen in other countries, a misuse of law, a misuse of democracy, what one might call lawfare.
Donald Trump is sliding into full dictator mode, not just in an effort to protect himself as a dictator of this country, but to protect other dictators, other former leaders who ruled as autocrats. Jair Bolsonaro is who I'm talking about today. Donald Trump is now punishing the nation of Brazil, a country, he's punishing them with tariffs, a country that doesn't even have a trade deficit with us. The deficit is actually the reverse. We sell more to Brazil than we buy from them. That's where the deficit is. So if anything, they should be charging us tariffs to correct the trade imbalance, according to Donald Trump's logic, right? Well, he's doing so. He's announced it. He's let us know why, because they're taking his friend, Jair Bolsonaro, to court to punish him for attempting to overthrow the government in order to stay in office. A straight up Trump move. So listen, this is the conversation I want to have about this is Donald Trump doing this as a metric to show the world that he is innocent in some weird half-baked plan? Or is it just to stick up for another autocrat? Because we know he rarely has a crossword to say about Xi Jinping, about Kim Jong-un, about Vladimir Putin, about Viktor Orban, about Bukele in El Salvador, or about the former president, Bolsonaro. And yesterday, with Margaret Brennan, Jamieson Greer, the trade representative, the tariff guru for Donald Trump, this dipshit who's a stumbly, bumbly, can't get his thoughts out in committee because he's being peppered with legitimate questions. He went on. They're trotting this guy out, this mumble-mouth idiot. They're putting him out there to answer questions. And Margaret Brennan does a great job here. She straight up is asking him, look, this isn't about trade. This isn't about a trade imbalance. This isn't about what Donald Trump has predicated all of these economic decisions on. This is about Bolsonaro. It's a great exchange. And then I'm going to read from a foreign newspaper, a foreign outlet, the BBC. Well, foreign if you're American. My audience is international, so not foreign to you if you live in the UK. And they break it down exactly what this is about and who Bolsonaro is and what he did and why, I guess, Donald Trump is doing what he's doing. First, Jamieson Greer with Margaret Brennan.
About Brazil, because the U.S. has a trade surplus with Brazil. That means, we sell them more than we buy from them. So it doesn't seem to be consistent here when you have the president put 50% tariffs on Brazil, one of the highest of any countries. And at the same time, the president is bringing up things that have nothing to do with trade when he's justifying them. He sent a letter to the current government complaining about the prosecution of his ally, Bolsonaro, who is who allegedly staged a coup when he lost the last election. The president called it a witch hunt. This seems politically motivated and not about trade.
There's a 10% tariff on Brazil because we have a surplus with them. That's the reciprocal tariff. And then there's a 40% tariff that the president has chosen to do under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, like we would do any sanction where we see geopolitical issues. The president has seen in Brazil, like he's seen in other countries, a misuse of law, a misuse of democracy, what one might call lawfare. It is normal to use these tools for geopolitical issues. I mean, sanctions, we've been using them for years with all kinds of countries.
You view tariffs and sanctions as the same?
They're just different in degree. I mean, tariffs are actually lighter than a sanction. A sanction, you're cutting off a country from your financial system. You're prohibiting trade with them. A tariff, you're allowing trade. You're just putting a fee on it. It's a lesser step
you have
than
moved
sanctions.
far away from dealing with the deficit. Now you are talking about politically motivated trade actions here. I mean, the president sent a letter to President Lula saying the tariffs are due in part to Brazil's insidious attacks on free elections. Why are you trying to influence a criminal trial of an ally of President Trump?
The president of the United States historically, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, they have used IEEPA to impose sanctions for all kinds of geopolitical reasons in all kinds of countries. Sometimes it's countrywide, sometimes it's specific to certain individuals, and often foreign leaders and foreign officials. So this is not way outside the market.
When it comes to
unaltered voice, by the way. I know you think that's a 13-year-old girl. It is not. That is Jamison Greer. Yeah, I'm petty. Get over it. Look, the people of Brazil, they're not taking this lying down. There's all kinds of protests happening right now in the streets where they are burning Bolsonaro and Trump images in effigy. They are doing what we should be doing. Their government is doing what we should have done. Joe Biden really shit the bed by putting Merrick Garland in charge of the DOJ. This could have been handled. We could have avoided Donald Trump being president right now if we had handled this like other countries. If we had handled this attempt to insurrect our government like Brazil did or like South Korea has done, we could have avoided this. But largely, Democrats are very trusting and so focused on fairness and even the appearance of bias that we drag our feet. Nancy Pelosi refused to bring impeachment against Donald Trump in his first term the first time for months and months and months until finally her hand was forced. One, we need to get rid of this attitude, especially now when we're on the cusp of losing our democracy, our country. We're losing it here. We are in the final stages of having America be what it was. It's just what it is here. We need to answer like others answer: Brazil, South Korea. But let me read this from the BBC. Here's the headline: Why Trump's tariffs on Brazil are more about political retaliation than trade. Earlier this month, Trump claimed the U.S. runs a trade deficit with Brazil. In fact, it runs a multi-million-dollar surplus, meaning the United States sells more to Brazil than it buys. This new tariff rate isn't about leveling a trade playing field. It's political and part of a growing feud between the U.S. and Brazil. President Trump has framed these tariffs as retaliation over the prosecution of his ally, right-wing former Brazilian president Jair Bolsonaro, also a criminal, also a scammer, also a fraudster. One of the worst. Bolsonaro is facing trial over an alleged coup attempt after losing the presidential election in 2022 when his supporters stormed government buildings in Brasilia. The case includes claims of a plot to kill President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, they call him Lula, who won the race. Bolsonaro denies the charges, and Trump has slammed them as a witch hunt. Weird how everything related to trying to secure democracy is met with Donald Trump's accusation that it's a witch hunt. Donald Trump absconds with highly sensitive, secret, top secret documents to Mar-a-Lago, stack him in his fucking bathroom, and that's a witch hunt. His fraud trial, where he was ultimately convicted of 34 felony counts of fraud. Oh, that's a witch hunt. Everything's a witch hunt. Everything's a hoax. Everything related to Donald Trump and his dictator wannabe allies like Bolsonaro. The right-wing authoritarians on the global stage right now will not stop until they destroy democratic integrity and democracy itself. I know a lot about not being dignified, Markwayne Mullin, and you are the poster boy for it. Markwayne Mullin was on with Maria Bartiromo yesterday. It is amazing to me, these people. This is a United States Senator in Markwayne Mullin. Unfortunately, for the state of Oklahoma, he is their one of two Senate representatives, James Lankford being the other one. And he is on Maria Bartiromo's show, and he's so happy to let her know. They luxuriate in just being in the presence of Donald Trump, being connected to Donald Trump. For them, it is a special, special thing. And he starts this entire screed about how they're changing Senate rules, which we're going to get to. I'm going to talk about it. And let me tell you, I'm going to have some smoke for Democrats here, because maybe I'll get into it now. There's always this talk about we can't do away with the filibuster because it'll give Republicans permission to do that. Again, for the last time, hopefully, they don't need permission to break the rules. They don't need permission to break the system. They're going to do it whatever we do. They're going to do it. And that's what they're signaling right now. They're going to break the rules in the Senate for Donald Trump. They didn't need Democrats to do it first. We didn't do it. And they're going to do it. We don't need to pack the court for them to break the Supreme Court. They're going to do what they're going to do. So here's Markwayne Mullin. The first part of this that's so outrageous is the fact that he's just so over the moon excited. I was talking to the president about you, Maria Bartiromo. And by the way, he's watching the show right now. Oh, it's weird. Before getting into the whole thing about the rule changes in the Senate.
Get to the point where we couldn't accept it. And I'm proud of President Trump. I spoke to him this morning, which, by the way, he's watching your show.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, Maria. He's watching right now. The president, I talked to him. He's watching. Oh, Markwayne Mullin, so excited. Could you act any less dignified? Says the guy who's not acting dignified. Look, I know a lot about not being dignified, Markwayne Mullin, and you are the poster boy for it, Mr. Nepo Baby, Mr. Giving your multi-million-dollar business from your father while acting as though you built it from the ground up. These people are shameless. They are cowards. They are weaklings. They lay forth spread eagle for Donald Trump to do what he will with them, while being just abjectly gleeful that he's watching the show that he's on. Let me tell you, I don't give a single fuck if Donald Trump is watching the show. In fact, if he is, boop. Have you heard today, Donald Trump? Fuck you. I hope you're watching. Very unlikely, but man, a guy can dream, right? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Is he watching? Says United States Senator Markwayne Mullin to conspiracy theorist Maria Bartiromo. The clip does continue, and there are things more important than this that we're going to talk about, and that begins here.
Get to the point where we couldn't accept it. And I'm proud of President Trump. I spoke to him this morning, which, by the way, he's watching your show. And he said, I had to walk away. I didn't have a choice. And I said, sir, I'm proud that you did this because we put them on notice and said, we're not going to play games with you anymore. So now you're forcing us to change Senate rules, which honestly, in the long run, is the best thing. So as soon as we get back through this, through the August, we're going to be working on rules change. When we get back, we're going to have to implement those rules change. And it's not our fault. People, the Democrats are going to scream saying, we're doing the nuclear option. No, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats did the negotiation or did the nuclear option because they have filibustered. We have 131 nominees confirmed. They have filibustered every single one of those except Marco Rubio. And I want to compare the difference between where we're at in 17 to where we're at today, just because I want to show the leadership and the effectiveness of Leader Thune. In 2017, we only had 55 confirmed at the same time. And they weren't filibustering all of them because Thune made it very clear we can do this a hard way or easy way. You remember him saying that at the beginning? They chose to do the hard way, so we have stayed. The Senate has stayed in more consecutive days than we have in 15 years. We've taken more votes than we have in 35 years, and we've confirmed 131 people.
Well, congratulations to you for also a successful 6 months in the Senate, executing President Trump's agenda.
Now, listen, this is what is important here. They are changing the rules of the Senate in order to give Donald Trump his wildest dreams, his most radical nominees. They're already at breakneck paces approving, confirming radicals. Jeanine Pirro, Pam Bondi, Jared Kushner's dad, this Beauvais guy. And they're going to break the rules to get even more radicals in. They couldn't get Ed Martin done, but they will be able to now. And you know what? They didn't need the Democrats to do this first. They're going to do it first. And he's even saying, he's in advance, he's saying, when we get back, we're going to have to implement those rule changes. And it's not our fault. The Democrats are going to scream saying, we're doing the nuclear option. No, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats did that. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We don't have strong enough leadership to do this. But they're going to act like we did. Chuck Schumer, for all of his hand-wringing and not being strong, this is what he gets. He's still going to be blamed for the thing that he chose not to do. They're still going to say he did the thing that the rest of us Democrats were screaming for him to do, and he refused to do it. Well, congratulations, says journalist Maria Bartiromo. Journalist, right? I mean, journalist. Well, congratulations to you for also a successful 6 months in the Senate, executing Trump's agenda. Sounds like she's on a team. Sounds like she's got a narrative that she wants to promote. It doesn't seem like unbiased journalism. This is the thing that Donald Trump is now fully engaged with CBS, having a bias ombudsman or whatever, where Donald Trump now effectively runs the network as president of the United States, with his Brendan Carr goofball as the FCC commissioner. Donald Trump has his thumb on the scale from every angle, governmentally, private business, broadcast, news. We didn't need to do any of this for Donald Trump to do this. They're going to do what the they're going to do, whether we do it or not. Let's get that through our heads. Let's move through into the future, understanding that we're needing to start fighting fire with fire here. They're going to filibuster, or they're going to gerrymander Texas. All right. I fully endorse the talked about plan by Gavin Newsom. We'll see if it comes to fruition, of turning the entire state blue, every single, all of the districts blue. Right now, Kathy Hochul's talking about in New York, changing the Constitution to turn that state blue. Do it. Do it. Otherwise, we lose our country. They are using democracy to destroy democracy. And if we don't get on board here and start acting like we want to save the country, we're going to lose it. And we'll never see another Democrat elected. Because fascism will stop at nothing unless we snuff it out. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. What do you think? I would appreciate your feedback here. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line. Leave me a fewer than 3-minute voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I do absolutely want to hear from you. And if you want to help support this work on an ongoing basis for $2 a month, you could do just that. Click the join button below this video on YouTube and become a channel member, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. And for the last time today, I'm going to go figure out how it's done, but I think you can do it on Facebook too. But overall, make sure you're subscribed, share this content online. We need to rally the troops and start changing hearts and minds and convincing people that we need to start fighting back and not laying down and being so worried about what Republicans think about our tactics. Anyway, I will see you next time. I love and appreciate you very much. Be genuine and take care of one another.